Okay, guys, we're going to show you how to graph some inequalities. Okay, so this will be a review though, because we've already talked about graphs of these before. We've already talked about vertex and if the graphs go up or down. So it is going to be a lot of review. All right, so let's look at this. It says, sketch the graph of this inequality. All right, so you're going to practice some of these today. I have a worksheet for you to do with these. So first, you guys need to know what the vertex is. Okay, you might remember this because we have done these throughout the year. You should be able to just look at that problem and figure out the vertex. You guys might already know what it is. You've had it even on some of the previous DCAs, like looking at a problem and telling what the vertex is. You know what the vertex is of this graph? Yeah, the number 1 in there, actually, remember we talked about how it's the opposite sign of that? So it's actually positive 1 and 3. Like, the graph would go 1 to the right and up 3. So I would go 1 to the right and up 3. That's the vertex right there. Okay, so that's the vertex. Here, I'll make it like purple. So that's the vertex, 1, 3. Now, some of you might notice here there's a negative in the front of the problem. That means that the parabola goes down like this. If there's a negative in the front, the parabola goes down. We've talked about that in the past. If that wouldn't have been there, then my graph would have went up. So the negative makes the graph go down like that. Okay, now there's one more new thing about this. See the symbol in the front? It's not just an equal sign in the problem. It has this symbol like this. You know what that symbol means? That's a less than sign. That means when we graph this thing, we're going to shade below the thing, below it or under it. If it's less, you go down, like shade below. We've done some of the shading before this year too, haven't we? Okay, but these are parabolas. It's not just graphing a straight line. But we know it's like a parabola that goes down since this is negative. You know, the vertex is 1, 3. And then also in the past, we've talked about these symbols. If these are underlined, then you make like a solid line on your parabola. And if it's not underlined, then it's a dotted line or dashed line when you make the parabola. So mine's not underlined, so I'm going to make it like, I'm going to make a parabola that goes down, but I'm just going to make it kind of like dotted, like this. And then, you know, it's just dotted lines. And you kind of, when I make it, how wide I make it, I kind of just go down 1 over 1. Because this is like -1, like down 1 over 1, like the width of 1. So you see, I just make it going down. Okay, now we said that's less than, so I'm going to shade below it. So I would like shade in here. Now it's done. Yeah, it's kind of reviews what we've learned before, like reviewing the vertex. Where's the vertex? But just shade it. That's the new things like shading, and sometimes dotted lines on it. I'll show you one more of these, and then we have a few where they're like solve an equation. So this isn't too bad. Yeah, I do have this recording because if people aren't here, I'm going to post it. So somebody notice that it says like record up in the corner because I'm going to post it on Canvas so people who aren't here can see it. Okay, so now I'll show you one more of these kind. Okay, so that's the first one. Now I got to get another one up to try. Okay, here's a new one. Let me unfreeze my screen. Okay, here's another one. See if I can scroll this down a little. There we go. Okay, same type of thing. They want you to graph this thing and see if you can shade it correctly. It's really not too bad because we've done these before. All right, so first of all, you have to know what the vertex is. What do you think? If you just look at that problem, can you tell what the vertex is? Yeah, it's -3, 4. You remember it's the opposite of this number, of the one in the parentheses? Yeah, so it's -3, 4. That's the vertex. That should be a review. We've done that in the past. Okay, now this one has a 2 in the front. It has a 2 right here. But it's +2, right? It's positive. So the graph should go up like this. Because it's the 2, it's +2 over here. Let's make a little arrow. It's positive, so it should go up. If it's a negative number, it'll go down. Okay, now it's a 2. A 2 is a vertical stretch. So it should be a little skinnier. A 2 in the front is called a vertical stretch. It just makes the graph a little skinnier. Skinny, like a skinny parabola, a little bit skinnier. It's not that difficult either. Okay, so let's try to graph it. So we go to the vertex, -3, so 1, 2, 3. -3 up 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, -3, 4 is right here. Okay, and then I'm telling you, it's just gonna be it's gonna go up and it's gonna be a little skinnier since I had a 2 in the front. So I would go like up 2 over 1. It's gonna be about like that. It's kind of skinny. It's gonna go kind of like that. Okay, now the symbol in the front is this symbol and it's underlined. That's a less than. It's a less than again, less than or equal to. It's a less than or equal, right? So I could, if it's underlined, since it's underlined, I can make my parabola a solid parabola. Solid like this, not dotted this time, solid line. If it's underlined. So I should just be able to draw it kind of like a parabola like this. It's kind of skinny. There, that's good enough. Just you just kind of draw it, just kind of sketch it in there. See, I kind of just went up 2 over 1 since I had a 2 in the front. Okay, now finally shading this thing. How do you shade this thing? Okay, so it's less than or equal to. It's less than. So would less than be in here or would it be like out here? Less than, do you think that's inside of this or out here? Less than, you have to like shade below the thing. Shade, so less than is like shade below. You know, less shade below. So you want to shade like under this thing like this. You just use your pencil and just like scribble this out here. It's not that, see, it's just kind of weird. You just shade it in. Yeah, so shading, it's basically on the assignment, you either shade inside the parabola or on the outside of the parabola. Yep, this would have been greater than in here. And less than, like, see, because this is lower down here. Like all this outside lower. So it's kind of weird, isn't it? The shading's kind of weird. Alright, so we're going to do some of those. You're going to kind of have like a 2-part assignment. I'm going to give you a paper where you're going to graph some of these. And then we're going to try some equation ones where you're just going to have to solve some equations. I'll show you the equations now. Okay, I'm going to